What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Scary Hour. It's your boy. We're back at it again. And I'm going to get off rip. I'm going to go off rip with aging. So a group of scientists have currently been looking into how to stop aging. I'm going to read you a quote that I've read based on the study that I seen posted online about a month ago. A month and a half ago, if I'm not mistaken, and it comes from a she's the co-author of the study. Her name is Sophia Capsiani, and she said aging is increasingly being recognized as a set of diseases in modern medicine, and we can apply the tools of the digital world, such as AI, to help slow down or protect against aging and age-related diseases. Our study demonstrates the revolutionary ability of AI to aid the identification of compounds with anti-aging properties. So when I first read that, I off rip started to think about, like, it's interesting how these people, researchers and scientists, are looking at anti-aging as as a form of a disease. You know, it's and it got me thinking, because I was thinking to myself, like, okay, this is why they say not to eat a certain thing, because it can make you sick, or it can make you your body react in a negative way, which can later on down the line cause something severe, or it may not be severe, something that can that you may not see it now, but you will definitely see it later on in your life. So when I first read her statement, I was like, damn, that's interesting. I never thought about it like that. And obviously for some people it probably be like some kind of a nonsensical thing, like it's just like kind of like duh, like People may have had this thought before. I certainly didn't. But what do I know? I'm stupid. But yes, when she said this, I found it very interesting. It got me thinking deeper. And they have jotted down so far, because obviously it's probably a developing story. It's probably something that's still obviously getting worked on. But so far, they've narrowed it down to 3 different compounds. One of them being flavonoids, however you pronounce that compound. But it's usually found in, onions, like kale, like vegetables. And the second compound would be fatty acids, which is also found in fruits, I believe. And the third compound is actually, I gotta look at it because it's organoxygens. Yeah, I would have butchered that if I never looked at my notes. But organoxygens, and those that is a carbon. I think it's a carbon-based. Listen, I don't know. It's called organoxygens, and it's a compound that is usually found in liquor, alcohol. So when I seen that, I immediately thought about how I always heard of the saying that drinking a glass of wine a day is actually good for you. And I can kind of see why, I guess. If the studies are correct, then I can definitely understand as to why that news has always been a news or a thing. So for you alcoholics, you can go to sleep and you can go to bed a little better tonight, knowing that that you're constantly drinking a compound that can later on in your life possibly expand your life, and you could grow very old. So this study was kind of refreshing. I've always thought about these scientists and researchers kind of like looking for ways to expand our lifespan. But then you start to think about, like, do you really want to live past 100? Like, it's one thing to fear death, and it's another thing to, like, know that death is coming and whatnot. But don't you feel like a century of living is like what you need? Because once you're already like 100 years old or close to it, you're to the point where you need assistance to even do the regular life thing. Majority of the times, I'm not speaking for everybody, but majority of the times you kind of need assistance on a lot of things. And it's like, imagine 50 more years of that, where your body is just deteriorating naturally. It's not even in your control. It's naturally. You're susceptible to injuries, even more susceptible to injuries than ever before. And then it's like you're just like bones and skin. But I don't know, man. I mean, it's definitely interesting. I seen the study and I was like, well, damn, like, this is lit. Because when I seen the study, I thought they were talking about like making you look younger, like, or you not, basically not, it's like your body not basically deteriorating naturally as it should by the time you're 80, for example. But yes, when I seen that, I immediately thought about like all the companies that would, come out with a certain cream, anti-aging cream that can remove or prevent your face from having, or any part of your body from having wrinkles or dark spots, light spots, whatever your thing is. And when I actually read it, that's when I was like, okay, well then, shit, this is actually helpful, and I guess one upside of it is just like we get to expand humanity's intelligence even further out more, I guess, if that makes any sense. Meaning, maybe we can, if we get this shit figured out, this is getting old shit figured out, then maybe we could we could like get to where we want to get quicker, faster as a human race, as an animal. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I read that, it was interesting, and I felt like you guys would have found it interesting as well. So it's pretty dope to know that we have people actually working out there to just like make us live longer. And I hope that shit comes out, like they done with the whole studies and shit like that before I'm like 50, because you hear me talking about, oh, do you really want to live past 100? But I don't mind it. I would not mind it whatsoever. You feel me? Like, it just gives me even more time. Now I look at myself and I'm 23 years old, and I think about how I'm 7 years closer to 30. And when I turn 24, I'm going to be six more years to 30. Once I'm 30, I'm only going to be a decade away from 40. So expanding humanity's lifespan will be in all of our favors. And I'm a huge advocate for it. So fingers crossed and things actually work out and we actually find a study that, I mean, I'm not saying this one doesn't work, but, something finalized, So just felt like you guys should know that. It's pretty interesting for me. I've said the word interesting like 40 times in the first 10 minutes of this podcast. But I just felt like you guys should know, and that shit was interesting as shit. Again, I said it. Oh man. Sometime last week, a network, it's called Poly Network, which is, I believe it's like a Coinbase. has to do with crypto. I believe it's like a Coinbase, like a Ameritrade. Well, not a Ameritrade because that's stocks, but a Coinbase slash like Robinhood kind of app where like they let you do all of that extra stuff that those other two apps that I mentioned let you do. Somebody hacked up all up in their shit and stole $600 million worth of crypto. Before I even educated myself in this news that I heard of, I thought immediately that what I had in stocks was in that 600 million. Now, obviously, not all stocks combined are worth 600 million. There's obviously way more money out there. But I didn't know any better. I don't know much about fucking stocks and shit like that. I'm just learning about this shit, so bear with me. But Poly Network is basically a decentralized finance platform for peer-to-peer transactions that allow you to transfer or swap tokens across different blockchains. You can do what you can with that information. And I heard this from one of my favorite YouTubers currently, CoffeeZilla. And if anybody doesn't know who CoffeeZilla is, I highly suggest you check up on him. He's basically the internet's investigator, YouTube's investigator, and he is greatly and reasonably so dubbed the correct nickname, because that man does some research that is second to none. So, yeah. And also shout out to Mudahar, who is also in that same aspect range or whatnot. But what I found interesting was that the hacker later on like seen it as like, oh shit, this is too much money, and eventually I can't do nothing with this money because this money is gonna get tracked and eventually I will get caught. So I'm gonna give the money back, but I don't know if I should give it back to you guys or if I should just give it out to the people. I don't know how he was gonna do that, but his mindset was just like, fuck corporate, I'm gonna give it to everybody. But then the next day he'll be like, all right, fine, I'm gonna give it to y'all, this and the third. So far from like the last couple days, what I've heard was that he returned a little under half of the money. So he returned like 200 and something million, I don't know, back, and he stole 600 million. So we'll see what happens with that. He's probably given more. I'm not sure. He probably returned more. I'm not sure. And then he started. This is the most interesting part of this story. He started a Q&A. I don't know if he did it in the app itself, but I know he started a Q&A as he was holding the money for ransom. Like he started like on some like, why did I do it? Why Poly Network? What should I do with the money or whatnot? And it was interesting because it's like CoffeeZilla said. It's almost as if he was a hacker who kind of didn't think he would make it this far into the hack. Meaning, oh, I'm going to steal this much amount of money and I'm going to try it. I'm going to attempt to. I usually don't get this far, but let's try it. And he did that. And, it just so happened that all of that money, he was holding it. So, yeah, it almost felt like that. I mean, I personally, if I was the hacker, I wouldn't even know what to do with the money. I just probably, first of all, I wouldn't even be hacking, because before I even hack anything, I would probably think to myself, what will I do with this money? What will I achieve? It doesn't matter how many people I transfer, how many different accounts I transfer to. Eventually, I will get caught. So, unless I flee the country, but ain't no better country than America. So, I don't know, man. Um, it's pretty crazy. It's excuse me. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know how people are so smart to like hack shit. Like it really takes a crazy mind. Excuse me. It really takes a crazy mind to really hack something like this, for example. Like you really have to be so fucking smart, so fucking technical with shit. And like I wouldn't even know personally how to hack shit. I remember like the closest thing I ever got to hacking was hacking one of my ex's Facebooks back in the day. And I just felt like the bitch was doing some dog shit, and I just felt like I needed to know, and I hacked into her shit. I mean, I wouldn't even necessarily call it hack because I kind of had sort of an idea of what her password was, and I just tried it and kept trying until I finally got it right. So it's not necessarily hacking. Uh, so yeah, and rightfully so, because I had a reason to be all up in there. You feel me? If it wasn't for me hacking that shit, I would have never known, and I probably would have been looking stupid right now as we speak. So don't bash me for it. I don't do it anymore. You feel me? I know what to do and how I know the tides are changing in a relationship or in a talking stage or whatnot, or whatever you guys call it nowadays. But yeah, I don't know. I just I was so happy, y'all, when I got in that bitch. I literally was like, nah, you know what? Let me just try it 2 more times because I know it's gonna block me from putting the password in again. And I tried it. I got it wrong again. I'm like, okay, there's only one more possibility of what the password could be. And I tried it. I go, boom. I press enter. The screen loads. It took longer than ever to load out of the times that I tried. So off rip in the middle of that loading screen, I was like, yeah, we got him. Boys, we got him. And as soon as I got in there, I immediately went to the likes, immediately went to the fucking DMs or whatever you used to call it back in when I don't use Facebook. So, but yeah, went immediately to the messages and scrolling. And ain't nothing better. I don't even care if I'm the one getting done dirty, but ain't nothing better than sneaking all up in somebody's business and like reading what people other people's conversations. I was having the time of my life, seeing everything. I was having the time of my life, looking at everything I needed to look at or whatnot, or I felt like I needed to look at. But yes, that is a story of me evading my ex's privacy. But the bitch ain't shit, so it wasn't shit. So they'll be alright. Moving on from this story, as I was making my way to the studio, I was scrolling through Instagram, which is what I usually mainly use. I try to get into Twitter. I've spoken about this a million times before, but I try to get into Twitter. It doesn't work out. It's it's just, I don't understand the people. The people on all social medias are crazy, but the people on Twitter are a different story. Simply because I feel like, us as humans, we always have an input on anything that there is. And I feel like people just speak without thinking. And that's what you see a lot of on Twitter. So I don't even involve myself into Twitter. Twitter sucks. I have Twitter just to have Twitter, just in case one day we blow up. I already have it there. I don't have to create a whole account for it. But yeah, so I was on Instagram, and I seen the story that was published by a couple media news outlets and on social media, and it showed. I'm not gonna show the video because I feel like it's a little too disrespectful and graphic to show. It doesn't show any gore or anything like that, anything sexual or anything like that. It doesn't show any of that, but it does show somebody potentially losing their life. But I'm gonna describe it, and hopefully you get hopefully you already seen it, you know what I'm talking about. But also hopefully if you haven't, you kind of get a grasp or a thought or an animated idea of what it is that I'm talking about. So the U.S., I think they've been donating a lot of these vaccinations to other countries, and I only say that because I seen that they donated that we donated to Taiwan a couple months back. I think it was Taiwan, and it, the same U.S. Air Force plane was used. So I mean, then again, the country that I'm speaking of currently right now about this video is Afghanistan, and so I know I think we we have soldiers out there and stuff like that. So it could be just more than just a vax giveaway or whatnot or a donation. But yeah, this huge plane, U.S. Air Force plane, was currently taking off from Afghanistan to come to the U.S. And I was wondering, like, why is a moving plane still moving with damn near like 100 people literally beside the wheel trying to cling on to the plane? So before I even read anything, any caption or any more details about the story, I immediately thought about how, they're just probably attacking the plane or whatnot. They don't want the plane to leave. The plane is probably leaving with something that they don't want the plane to leave with. But when I read it, it said that Afghanistan's or people that live in Afghanistan, those individuals in the video were trying to cling on to the aircraft in order to flee Afghanistan because the Taliban took over. I don't know if it was the Taliban taking over their region or I don't know, but it was pretty vague, the captioning. Couldn't find any more details about it because I guess it happened today, so there is a developing story. But yes, you see a whole bunch of people just under this aircraft that's trying to take off, and you see few individuals holding on to the plane, like right above the wheels, like not the things that are holding the wheel, but not necessarily that, but like it looked like it was like the part where you put gas inside of the plane at, or fuel inside of the plane at, or whatnot, and you could just see them like trying to cling on and hold on to a part of the plane, and it was just crazy to see that, because the next clip after that was the plane or the aircraft already in the air, and what looks to be this small speck from where the camera was angled. It wasn't zoomed in, so all you see is this small speck just coming from the plane and just dropping down. And it was then reported that about 2 individuals fell from up there. And it's so sad to even like see some shit like that, let alone hear about it. because you just start to think about how desensitized people are in America. You know, honestly, I force myself to see certain videos that are very graphic just because I know I'm living a really good life compared to 95% of humanity. And though I have a lot, to complain about, but when I see the predicament certain people are in that they didn't even choose to be in, they're just born in it, I start to cherish even the little things that would that would always bother me. So when I seen the story, it was just like, imagine how desperate you have to be in order for you to get to a state of mind where you feel like you need to flee the country and the place in which you call home. I personally do not see myself living in Dominican Republic. And that is significantly close than a lot of other countries to the US. So with that being said, yes, I was born in New York. I was born in the US. But just because my parents are from Dominican Republic does not mean I'm about to take my ass to Dominican Republic when I'm old and start living there. Because I know how bad it is out there. Financially, economically, living wise. And my mother fled the country. She didn't flee it, but she made the necessary steps to leave the country in order to give me, a kid she didn't even think of having, a better life. Also herself too, but eventually so that I could be in the position that I'm currently in. So I find it completely unfortunate into the lives that certain people are brought up in, because I always feel like everybody deserves the most out of their life. I feel like people should have. I'm an American. I feel like people should have all of the rights that we have around the world. Where I'm very westernized, and obviously I'm from America, so that is why I think the way I think. But it's such a sad story, man. And I'm not gonna really talk much more in depth about it, just because I it's foreign politics. I don't want to give off this notion that I'm very highly aware of every little thing that's going on in other countries. But if that's the thought that you have in mind, I'm here to let you know I barely even know about my own country. So, it's just for the unfortunate and sad aspect of the story, it is very overwhelming just to hear about it, let alone understanding that there's people actually living it. So for all of my people that are going through certain things or a certain position to where they feel like they need to flee their homes, and they feel like it's necessary to flee their homes, I hope you make it to where you need to make it, because I know you're looking on to better living, into living a better life, so I completely feel you for that. Take the necessary steps, move the right way. And I don't know, it's so sad, But But if so, wear a mask because we don't want different strains up in this bitch. You feel me? I recently heard one of the episodes in the Joe Rogan podcast, the Andrew Schultz episode to be exact, that a lot of people that cross the Mexican border do not, or any kind of border, do not really get tested. Jamie Vernon, the JRE producer, he was saying that the only thing he sees online based off his research, or based off his the research that he does on there, which I need a person like that. So if anybody is really good with laptop, we're researching and stuff like that, hit me up. But yeah, he did his research and he's seen that the only news that he's seen from any illegal immigrant getting tested was like March 2020, like literally at the beginning of like the whole shebang. So if y'all gonna come in boats, if y'all gonna cross the border and get coyoted up, y'all better get maxed up too. So you feel me? I'm maxed myself and I live here, so I don't know. I know it's hot, you feel me? I know. Damn, I shouldn't even be saying shit like this. Nah, bro, my family came through the border, bro. I don't want to hear it. You feel me? Like, it, or I know people that came through the border. My family didn't, but I know it'd be hot. You feel me? Take it off. But when you around people, you don't put that shit on. You feel me? At least carrying one in your pocket. It might be handy. It might come out to something more than a mask. Who knows? Maybe in the nighttime it warms your face up a little more, because that's what it does to me. I loved it during the winter. During the wintertime, the only negative thing about wearing a mask during the wintertime was just that here in New York, when it's really cold and you're wearing a mask walking around, especially if you don't have a car, which I didn't at the time, you're like, it gets so humid in between the mask and your face that you have to constantly like put the mask down and like wipe your nose or some shit, or like wipe your face up a little bit into the sections of the mask that covers your face. And yeah, that's the only downside. But and it's like when I heard them talking about it, about the amount of people that I don't get. The amount of people that come through the border is crazy already. But then and I wouldn't have really given a fuck before the pandemic. But now that we've experienced a lockdown and we know what it means for the government to really start regulating a lot of shit and mandating a lot of shit. Yeah, I want no parts of it, and I feel like we should take every necessary step to avoid it. And what a better transition to moving on to what the protests, the violent protests against COVID-19 vaccinations, and that happened in LA. I heard something about like a man getting stabbed. Somebody I think got killed even. I'm not sure, but it's crazy to me how like people really just escalate shit so fucking far, bro. And I get it, we're Americans. It's like you're infringing in a lot of shit, especially this last year. The government infringed us into a lot of shit. Like maybe that doesn't make sense just because I probably don't know how to use the word infringement correctly in the right sentence. So for a lot of y'all probably looking at me like I'm stupid as shit, which I am. You're correct about that. But what I'm essentially trying to say is that the government this past year got into our business a little too much. And they're doing it in the name of of COVID. They're doing it in the name of keeping us safe or whatnot. But it's like, all right, bro, like we get it. We know just as much as you do. Like we're in tune. We're following up on news. We know what to do. We know to wear masks. Just because a couple, very few people don't want to, you have to just respect that. And I hate people in like certain people in like these major cities, major states that just always like bash you for not wearing a mask or bash you for just doing you. Like I don't really understand what's the whole thing. Like people catch such a fit. Like people become so Karen. Like they catch this huge fit into this little thing that, well, it's not a little thing, but it's like none of your business. Because if you like, Andrew Schultz was talking about it on that same episode I spoke about earlier, that somebody like called him a killer, some shit like that, just because he wasn't wearing a mask. And, you know, I'm from New York. He said it happened in New York, but then he's like very like downtown. He's like a very downtown nigga. So it's like he's constantly downtown. He's always around with Los Blanquitos, the gringos, white people. And it's like I maybe, you know, I'm not really around white people. So it's like, or he's probably usually mainly around corporate or some shit like that. To where like, but he said that if some random woman in the street was like, oh, you killer, you murderer, some shit like that, just for not wearing a mask. And it's like, bitch, you wearing your mask, right? You gonna see thousands of other people not wearing a mask. Mind your business. You feel me? It has nothing to do with you. Don't get close to me. It's that simple. What happens to the 6 feet rule? Avoid it if you really feel this strongly about what you believe in. It's just that simple. I don't really get it. I don't understand how we all have to comply by a certain rule that just got mandated. Like, it's obviously going to take some time to get used to. But yeah. Yeah, I've seen people look at me weird for not wearing a mask outside. And it's like, bitch, I'm mad far from you, bro. Like, I'm 8 feet away from 8 feet plus. Like, you should really not be worried. Now, when we going in a place where it's like really compact, or not even compact, it's an enclosed area where there's not a lot of air circulation going on, then yes, I will look at the person without a mask as, well, you're wilding. Like, put your mask on, you bugging out. Like, you're the reason. I ain't gonna lie, I turn into the woman. I start to really be looking at niggas like, all right, bro, this man is bugging. He's tripping. Is he supposed to be here? Yeah, he's not wearing a mask. But yeah, they're enforcing a lot of motherfuckers to have to put on the vaccine, or else they can't go to the gym, or else they can't eat at a regular restaurant and take their loved ones to a restaurant to spend time. It's like, fuck it, bro. If I have to cook at home and make it feel like it's a restaurant that we went to, then so be it. Because you're not about to make me do something I don't want to do, or I'm not ready to do yet. So it's like, you either wait for me to make my mind up and really see, like, okay, you know what, it's time for me to put on the vaccine or whatnot. Let's go ahead and do this. Or you just not gonna get it from me. It's just that simple. I don't even go out to eat like that anyways. There's not much money to be spread around anyways. So, but yeah, it's a lot of people that feel comfortable, especially the government. You know, they felt real comfortable this last year and a half on mandating a lot of shit, on making us do a lot of shit, when the forefront of being an American is living free and doing all that, whatever it is that you want to do, if it obviously stands around the rules, you don't break the law. But that's the whole point of being an American. This is why you're proud to be an American. How's the song go? I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. This last 2 years, it hasn't been that same way, yes, for me. I just made that last part up. But yes, that's how I feel. And it's just that, you know, you start to think about other countries and like how, you know, some countries have had if they're not going through dictatorship right now, like for example North Korea, they've either had history of dictatorship and whatnot, and it's like you start to think like, to be honest, like, you know, when motherfuckers in power, like he or she low key wants to stay in power because you have so much say in so many things that it's like, why would you want to let go of that kind of power? You know, it's like, it's very hard for humans to, like, once you already have power as an individual, it's really hard to just like not get it your way. It's really hard to be like, no. It's not the right way. My way is not the right way. Your way is better. It's really hard when you know you have the power to enforce that and to enforce your way onto things. And yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just hope all of my illegal immigrants wear a mask. And when y'all get the chance and y'all get here, put on the vaccine, bro. Fuck it. It's the least y'all could do. We letting y'all in, you feel me? I heard a lot of motherfuckers coming through, bro. You feel me? So it's like, just get the vax, bro. I'm not getting it yet. But that's just because I don't feel comfortable getting it yet. But I know a lot of people, a lot of loved ones, a lot of friends that have gotten it. And that's their opinion. They felt comfortable enough to where they went and got their vaccines. And bravo for them. But also bravo to the people who don't want to get it yet. And it's just that simple, y'all. But yeah, we're getting real close to the end of this podcast. It's gonna be a really short one this week, guys. There hasn't really been much for some reason this week. But I'm happy we're here. I'm really happy we're here. But those are I hope that those violent protests against, you know, vaccinations don't happen in New York if they haven't happened already. I hope they don't happen. But yeah. Now, the one news I have about NBA, anything NBA related, it's about how bad Schroeder fumbled the bag. It's been the topic of discussion the last 2 weeks. He signed for a year, veteran deal, minimum, whatever, for the Boston Celtics for $5.9 million. And a lot of you that haven't really followed the story may think, oh, shit, you know what I would do with 5.9 in my bank account. And yes, I know exactly what you, my mom, my dad, your mom would do with that money. But this man, for those of you that don't know, earlier in the 2020-2021 NBA season, approximately like in the middle of the season, this man was asked by the Los Angeles Lakers, which was the team he was currently playing for. Well, he was playing for at the time, if he wanted to sign for a 4-year, $85 million contract extension. The man declined it and said he feels like he is a $100 million player and that he would wait until the summertime, which is free agency time, to get it, whether if it's with the Lakers and they want to reconsider their 85 mil 4 years, or another team that's willing to give it to him, because he felt like he was worth 100 mil. Personally, me, I've been watching NBA since 2010. I personally feel like, and for before I even get into that, for those who don't know who Dennis Schroeder is, he was an NBA player. Obviously, he's a point guard, but he was always known as a 6-man point guard, which is it's either 6-man or the backup point guard. He was either known for either titles, which means 6-man meaning the first player off the bench after the starting 5 sits down, or one of the starting 5 sit down. He's the first one off the bench. That's the 6th man. And he's even won the 6-man title before. Or I think if he hasn't, he's definitely been in the talks of a 6-man title before, contender. And he's been always a backup point guard up until this last year, where he walked into the Lakers talking about, if y'all want me to play for y'all, I want you to know that I'm looking to be a starting point guard. Excuse me. Whoa. I'm looking to be a starting point guard. So then the Lakers complied and he got his wish granted. So he thought, I guess he assumed by the time that this contract extension talks was in the works, that he can maybe probably get $15-16 million more added to his contract, maybe for even a year extra or whatnot. But it's like, he is currently 28 years old. Once you're 28 years old and older, a lot of teams are gonna look at you like, okay, now you're supposed to go into your downside of your career. You're supposed to decline from here. You're not supposed to get faster, stronger, better at basketball. Usually, you around this time as a player tend to decline. So if I was Schroeder, I would at least thought about, okay, I am 28 years old or whatever. I'm going to be 28 years old. I might as well secure the bag now and play my best. And if it doesn't work out and I don't end up playing the best basketball I've ever played or somewhat near the best basketball I've ever played, at least I know I have $84 million sitting there, whether I play good or not. This man said, nah, I know my worth. I want 100 mil and plus. So, because he declined the Lakers, he waited up until the summer. And I, as a Laker fan, am completely happy he did not take the contract, because I don't think we would have had the money that we had this summer, going into the summer, to get all the pieces all the veteran pieces and the new acquisitions that we got this summer. So thank you, Schroeder, and I appreciate it for declining, because we wouldn't be in the position that we're in. And honestly, I didn't even want him back anyways, because like Magic said, he was not a Laker. He immediately after he declined the offer, it's like his play of basketball went to shit immediately. Like, it started shooting the ball at a lower rate. He started shooting. His whole shooting scheme was just not working out. I don't know if it was just the mentality aspect of the whole declining the offer thing, or if it was purposeful. Who knows? Obviously, as a basketball player, I don't think it's ever purposeful. So I'll take that back. But yeah, definitely after that contract talk and him declining it, his game also declined as well. So, hey man, his wife recently, obviously because of the backlash and people making fun of him and coming at him for not taking the 4-year $85 million deal from the Lakers, she was like, oh, he knows his worth. she put up a post, something about like, my husband felt like he needed to take the necessary steps to secure himself, and at least now we both know that we're happy in the decision that he made because he wanted this decision. He stuck by what he wanted to do and not by the money. It's essentially what she was saying. And she has right to that. Like, I definitely feel that. It takes a lot of guns, but but to be honest, I would definitely grab a bottle of Leyenda Brugal and start to drink on it and talk to my friends about how I really fumbled the bag when I could have just been chilling for the next 4 years in LA too, which is not even come on, like LA, whether it's New York, Miami, or LA, like it's not even. But now you're in cold ass Boston. I love all my Boston people out here, but yeah, it's cold as shit out there. So yeah, that is Dennis Scrotum Schroeder, fumbling the bag. Best of luck to my man's though. You feel me? Hope he plays out. And it's crazy because like, what if in the locker room, in the Boston Celtic locker room, he doesn't bring the energy that people need in there, you know? What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is, you lost out on a lot of money. You're not supposed to be here, but this is the best contract you can get right now. And you're here because of that. So you're not really incentivized to really play your best basketball. You're not as motivated as you would have been if you would have been getting paid that much money and around the people that you've already been around and you lost around. And it's just, I feel like you're just not going to bring, or I feel like these teams feel like he is not just going to bring that winning mentality into their locker room. And rightfully so, especially after missing out like that. So I really, best of luck. Obviously, I'm calling him Dennis Scrotum. It's a joke. Jesus, don't take it serious. They call me George Lopez sometimes. That's just because my last name is Lopez. Not even because I look like him. But it's obviously Dennis Schroeder. Best of luck to him in his game. And y'all not even no competition next year. So it's like y'all finna get your eyes whooped before y'all even see the Lakers. But this has been another episode of Scary Hour. I hope you guys enjoyed. This wasn't as long as it usually is. But I'm only off by a couple minutes. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope your last weekend was a very good weekend, and I hope this next one is even better than that one. So always try to be better than you were yesterday. I love you all. Hope you liked it, enjoyed, and I hope you support. And yeah, see you guys next week.